Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on 2 of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sunanda Jayasheelan. 2 interviews in focus tonight. First up is with 1MG in our special series, Ballantine's Golf Retreat presents Undaunted Greats. On the other side of the break, we're bringing you Qure.ai. The Indian healthcare market is booming and is expected to touch $372 billion by 2020. That's massive potential for companies like 1MG, which ensures that it is collaborating with local chemists and pathologists to deliver services and products at your doorstep. Mansi Chokse has more on this company.
Thank you so much for joining us over here on the show. You started your entrepreneurial journey with Health Cart Plus, which later became 1MG. Tell us something more about this journey.
Actually, the journey started back in 2009 when I came back from the US and started my first venture in the healthcare technology space. From that, I think the next 2 ventures came. So 2011 started Health Cart. And from within Health Cart, there was, as you mentioned, Health Cart Plus. That was a line of business that we had. 2015, we demerged it out into a separate company, rebranded it as 1MG, and here we are.
So basically, what made you transit from Health Cart Plus to 1MG? Because both the companies were somehow on the same pattern.
So actually, there was a very fundamental difference that the kind of user, Health Cart was actually focused more on the wellness and fitness consumer. 1MG much more on the medical side of things. So 1MG is a digital health platform where consumers can get all their healthcare information, products and services. So we run a e-pharmacy, e-diagnostic, e-consultation lines of business. But if you look at it fundamentally, what's the difference? Health Cart very clearly focuses on the fitness and wellness consumers, so a very young audience. So what we saw between the 2 companies was the user set was very different. Okay. And the kind of services that both the platforms were offering turned out to be fairly non-overlapping.
Tell us something about 1MG's business model and how do you want to scale it?
Okay, so fundamentally as a platform, 1MG as a mobile app or a website, consumers come, they get the information that they need for their healthcare. They can buy their medicines, e-pharmacy, and we have a network across the country of partners from where the medicines are then supplied directly to the consumer. We get a commission from our partners for all the business that we can get to them. Same for diagnostics, we are tied up with almost all the big lab chains of the country, and for all the business that goes through our platform, we get a take rate or a commission for all the sales that happen. Similarly, we run e-consultations where a user can chat with a doctor. A part of that revenue is shared with us.
Let's talk about the scalability in this business model. How do you plan to scale this business?
So I think we're already available in more than 1,000 cities, and given that all this has happened in the last 3.5 years, it's because the model is inherently scalable. The way we work is we provide a platform and we work with partners all over the country. And for us to go into a new city, all we need is a good partner. It's very, very scalable. All we need to make sure is we bring the right partners of the right quality standards on board and scale them up.
How do you envision the future of healthcare in India? What are the top areas where you think there will be a lot of growth in coming years?
So see, I think if you look at specifically healthcare, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, highly underserved segments of the market. It's very common, I think all of us know from our experiences that people come from these small towns to the big cities to get their medical treatments, and when they go back, somebody from here is either shipping or couriering the medicine, or they have to send somebody from the village to the city or to the metro to get what they need for their healthcare. So inherently, the demand is high and the supply is broken. So I think we bridge that gap. We are also supplying to a lot of villages and really, really small towns.
Give me a sense of the ecosystem in which you're working with different partners to provide this last mile delivery.
In most of the cities, we have set up our own as the cities scale. In the smaller towns, our partners manage the logistics themselves. So we work through a hybrid models. In some cases, we provide the logistics as a service. In some cases, it's directly availed of or provided by the vendor partners. And I think logistics, one very important part. We also train and develop a lot of healthcare logistics people. So we have a team of over 500 phlebotomists, the guys who go to patients' home on a bike and then take their blood sample for their lab tests and then take it to the lab for testing. So that's also, and so we develop them, we train them, we teach them hard skills, soft skills, customer interaction, technology skills. So we've got a pretty rigorous training module for healthcare skill development.
So what are the regulations in online pharmacy space and how do they impact your business?
The thing with regulation is that a regulator's job is to make sure that status quo is maintained, and an innovator is trying to change the status quo and make things better. So there's always this a little bit of, I would say, need to understand each other's situation and work forward in a manner that is beneficial at the end of the day for the consumer. So what we have had to do is spend a lot of time engaging with the regulators and educating them on our model, because fundamentally our model is actually very simple. I have to say the regulators have been fairly positive and very progressive. One can really, for the first time in the ecosystem, trace back that, okay, this medicine came from this source, and if there was an issue, then it can actually be, accountability can be established. Now the second part of it, we also have a bunch of these recent legal cases that have come, because the other reality of our ecosystem is we have a union of offline pharmacies who have, although we work with small pharmacies as a business model, still they've chosen to take an aggressive stance and have started basically going to a few courts to make sure that they can find ways to disrupt the business. We have full confidence in the process of the courts. I think the Madras High Court latest stand is pretty clear that so it's all fairly positive.
You have recently raised a fresh round of funding. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to raise funds at different stages in their business?
Engaging with the investor, there are a couple of quick tips I can give if you want me to talk about, which is, it's never a one conversation transactional way. I think the best time to really build or when you are actually putting in the effort to raise money is when you are not actively looking for money. It's when you are just building relationships. So be in touch with investors, keep them updated, take their thoughts, understand their perspectives, see where they are coming from. So you have to spend time to engage with a bunch of them. And when it's not a transactional conversation. So that when you start the transactional conversation, they already have a certain level of comfort regarding where you are coming from, and you have some comfort regarding where they are coming from.
How do you envision the future of healthcare in India? What are the top areas where you think there will be a lot of growth in coming years?
So I think clearly, I think this is one of the biggest areas that will see the maximum change in the years ahead. 3-4 very fundamental reasons. One, it's a very large sector that has very large pain points that need to be solved. And now the good news is that technology is reaching a stage and evolution where it can meaningfully and fundamentally change a lot of these models. So what is, I would say, the basic change that we are seeing, or a structural shift in the ecosystem, is technologies like AI, machine learning, IoT, these have matured to a level where they can just fundamentally change the way data is accessed, processed, procured, everything. I'll tell you what we are doing, very simply because we have data on a lot of our patients, we are able to track disease progressions. We are able to start predicting that would a patient get better or worse. We are able to then preemptively come in and suggest this is the right thing for you at this point. So what's happening as the future of healthcare is, it's certainly moving towards a direction where it is going to be data driven. It's going to be very, very predictive, personalized, and also it's going to actually be patient centric. So I think we are sitting in a position where this market is going to just explosively grow. A lot more patients will come into the healthcare fold. Better quality healthcare will be created or developed for people, and I think it's going to open up more opportunity than probably any other sector at this point in time.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That was the story of 1mg. On the other side of this very short break, Qure.ai is our small giant in focus tonight. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Qure.ai is our small giant in focus tonight. We started tonight's show by looking at the potential of the healthcare market in India and the kind of growth story we're likely to see. Also continuing to focus on that same space is our second small giant tonight, Qure.ai, which is using artificial intelligence when it comes to medical scanning. Take a listen to what the potential is, what the growth story is like in this very special small giant.
Thank you for hosting us, Prashant. I'd love to know more about Qure.ai. It's a very interesting company. Please tell me more about it.
Thanks for having me here, Tanya. So Qure.ai started in 2015 when my previous company, Magna, was acquired by Fractal Analytics, and I joined Fractal as Chief Data Scientist. In that role, I was discussing with the CEO of Fractal about how we could utilize AI, and we said, can we take this technology and can we apply it to healthcare? And that is when we started discussing this idea with many hospitals around the country and in fact around the world. And then we said, can we use this AI technology to interpret radiology images? So that is how the idea came about. And then over the next 6 to 9 months, we put together a team of doctors, data scientists, bioinformaticians, and also we collaborated with, I would say, around 10 to 15 different hospital chains to be able to build that technology. And now we are here where this technology is ready. It's cleared regulatory approval and it's up and running in around 50 sites around the world.
Can you tell me more about the opportunities when it comes to pathology, radiology, and diagnostic space? Do you think SMEs have a lot of opportunities in this space?
Overall, healthcare in India is growing at a very rapid pace, right? And there is an opportunity, and the number of doctors, a number of radiologists are not growing at the same pace. And this is in India, across the world, this is the same phenomenon. So you are seeing more patients going through CT scans, MRIs, X-rays, and you are not seeing that radiologists are growing at the same pace. So I think there is an opportunity for people to develop AI which can help radiologists be better at what they're doing and bring accessibility to a lot of different regions. For example, Africa has very little access to radiology, and number of radiologists in certain countries is in single digits, sometimes mostly in double digits. So you're talking about providing much better quality AI in those countries. And so I think SMEs can build technologies which can help some of these I'm talking about radiology here, but also similarly in pathology and other spaces as well in healthcare. But helping these different healthcare providers improve the quality of care using artificial intelligence. In India specifically, we are well positioned because if you look at India, rural India does not have access to quality healthcare. The quality of healthcare in the cities is very good. I think it's comparable to a lot of developed countries. But if you go to areas which are outside of the metro areas, it's the quality of care is much lower, and SMEs could work on that, could build solutions which can provide better care around those areas. So for example, using telemedicine is one of the areas which is booming right now. So how can you provide care in a rural region in Bihar where no doctor wants to go, no radiologist wants to go, but then maybe you can have a doctor sitting in Bombay and the radiologist sitting in Bombay, and they can provide care over there using video conferences, reading the scans from there and so on. So those are opportunities. I think there are many different opportunities that there are many different solutions that can be created to address these gaps.
Great. So let's talk about the fundraising process. You've been a serial entrepreneur, and with Qure.ai, you were incubated as compared to raising funds. Do you think that really helped in your journey? And do you think that there are a lot of challenges when it comes to fundraising in this sector?
Absolutely. So I think I have been an entrepreneur before, and what I found is that as an entrepreneur, you spend a lot of time thinking about fundraising. You're either spending time on fundraising or you're thinking about creating metrics that can help you raise funds. And as Qure, being part of Fractal, being incubated by Fractal, we did not have to do that. We were able to focus on the right things, building the right solutions, doing the right research. We are one of the only companies which has got peer-reviewed publications in the AI radiology space. This is globally. So globally, maybe there are 2 or 3 companies who have got peer-reviewed publications, and we are one of them. And we have got 5 peer-reviewed publications, which is the highest among everyone. So that's something we have been able to do. We have been able to do quality research and build quality solutions, which would not have happened if we were always looking for funding from external sources.
Do you think it is easy or difficult for companies to raise funding in this space?
Raising funds may not be a challenge. I think the challenge is in scaling the company, because if you look at healthcare is special in many different ways, right? One is that you don't have access to data easily. If you're looking at the kind of data that you're talking about, facial recognition or other kinds of image recognition, data is available everywhere on Google, and many different sources are available. But for healthcare data, sources are very few. Second is that there's a lot of regulation around healthcare. So to sell a product in multiple countries, you have to go through the regulatory pathway. It's the CE certification in Europe, it's FDA in US, and other regulatory pathways around the world. That takes a lot of time, it's a lot of investment to get there. And the third thing is that for healthcare solutions, especially in AI, the standards are much higher, right? So if you think about comparing it to autonomous vehicles, there was an accident which happened with an autonomous vehicle a couple of years back, which was one accident in 120 million miles compared to human beings who have fatal accidents in around 80 million miles. So the autonomous vehicle was actually better than human beings. But when you look at something autonomous, you hold it to a much higher standard. You hold AI to a much higher standard. And that's where I think, for us also as a healthcare AI company, we have to perform much better than a radiologist to be able to provide autonomous reading capability. And so right now, of course, we are not autonomous. We are providing augmented reading capability where we help radiologists read better and read faster using the power of AI.
Can you tell me more about the industry itself? Do you think when compared to the rest of the world, how do you think the diagnostic industry in India is growing?
Certainly, the future is AI, and it is going to be AI assisted for the most part. Some of the process may be completely AI led. But I think it's going to be, that's probably 5 years in the future. Right now, I think what I see is that AI is going to help radiologists read faster and read better, so improving the accuracy and productivity.
Great. So let's talk about the 2 solutions that you offer currently, that is QXR and QER. Can you tell me more about these solutions, and are you working to improve these solutions in the future?
So we have these solutions. QXR is a solution which can automatically interpret chest X-rays. It can identify the top 18 findings from chest X-rays, and it can automatically create a radiology report, and then identify normals from abnormals, as I mentioned earlier. QER is a automated head CT scan reporting system which can basically identify critical abnormalities from head CT scans. So Think about, I mean, a radiologist who's got 30 cases to read, right? And the 31st case is one where there is a patient who's come in with a large bleed. And by the time the radiologist reaches that particular case, it's already been 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe even longer than that. And that could be fatal for that individual who is waiting for that read to be completed before they get treatment. And what we are doing using AI is taking that 31st case, which is the large case, which is the case with the large bleed, and pushing it to the top of the queue. So the radiologist, when they start reading, they see that, okay, this is the scan, which is abnormal as stated by Qure. And I read the scan, and then I take action on that. I mean, whether it's surgery or anything else that needs to happen for that patient. So that's how Qure helps radiology practices. And for us right now, we are improving both of these solutions. So we are adding more findings to both of them, both chest X-ray and QXR and QER. But also we are adding more capability. For example, QXR, we are adding a capability to do this on a mobile phone. So you could actually take a picture of a film on a mobile phone, and it will process that and identify the findings from the mobile phone image. So that's something we are working on. We are adding, on QER, we are adding more. We are adding, so for example, tumors and other findings to QER as well. And we are working on some new technology. So we are now working on detecting fractures from X-rays. So with QXR, which detects, interprets chest X-rays, and this fracture detection from other musculoskeletal X-rays, we would probably cover a wide range of X-rays, almost maybe 80–90% of X-rays. And so that's a solution that we're working on. And we're working on some other solutions around CT angio to detect stroke. So how do we detect stroke from CT angiograms?
In terms of new technologies like deep learning and artificial intelligence, is it easy to hire people in this domain?
So when we started Qure, we actually found it extremely hard to hire people who had got deep learning experience. We hired young people who were very sharp and very motivated, and they built that expertise over time. So now we have a team of people who have not only a great deep learning expertise, but also, I mean, our data scientists have spent a lot of time understanding the medical domain. So some of them, I can say, that can read a chest X-ray probably as well as a radiologist. I mean, so they have become so good at reading these X-rays. So even now we are hiring people who are fresh out of college, but who are really smart and motivated, and training them on these technologies.
Great. So let's wrap this interview up with asking, what is the future for Qure.ai?
The next step for us is to take the solutions which have been developed and make it available worldwide, impacting millions of lives. Today, for example, we are processing 1,000+ X-rays and CT scans on a daily basis from 12 different countries. And for us, the goal is to scale that up to more countries and to more scans over the next couple of years.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Prashant.
Thank you.
All right, that's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, do get in touch. Our contact details is up on your screens in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.